Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Marseille, ladies and gentlemen, Marseille, please come and help us because we need to make a final verdict on this particular individual. Wesley Fofana, ladies and gentlemen, is injured. He didn't make it to the squad yesterday's game against Spurs. None of us knew about this. Obviously, it was a bit of a shock for all of us when we saw the starting lineup and then we saw the bench. There's no Wesley Fofana. And the news is he's injured. And the worst part about it is he's apparently injured worse than Romeo Lavia. This is now 3 seasons down the drain for Wesley Fofana. And we can't continue this way. I think he's a talented defender. I think he could have been something really, really special. But from the get-go, we should not have got him from Leicester. He was already coming back from a serious injury when we did buy him from Leicester. And then now, 3 seasons down the track, he's literally not been able to do much for Chelsea Football Club. And the crazy part in all of this is not that long ago, Enzo Maresca said it in the press conference that, you know what, Wesley Fofana is probably not going to make it before the end of the season. He might feature somewhere around late April, this, that, the other. And it was Wesley Fofana that was trying to somewhat mock Enzo Maresca by saying, I don't know what he's talking about, almost to claim that Enzo Maresca was lying. And look, here we are again. So look, ladies and gentlemen, for me, if you guys remember, not that long ago, last summer, there were some conversations between Wesley Fofana letting the fans know that he's had an approach from Marseille. Marseille, please come and help us out. Now, before we look at those 2 particular tweets back then, this is the latest, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the injury news. No Fofana or Lavia versus Brentford and no timeline for their return. Fofana, though, is worse than Lavia. And another piece of information over here, what's Lavia and Fofana done, Maresca? Both the same muscle problem. So, yeah, we know that the muscle issues for both Fofana and Lavia is the biggest concern. But staying with Fofana, it's not good enough, man. Next season, we cannot be harboring players that we cannot rely upon. Availability is a huge, it's a huge skill set. I'm forgetting that word, that phrase that people say. Availability is... It's gonna come. It's not coming to my head, but you know what I'm talking about. Availability is a great ability. That's it. So yeah, I know he cost us a lot of money, Wesley Fofana, and he's on big wages as well. But we have to find a solution. Whether it's on loan, whether it's do we cut our losses? I'm not sure. Under this ownership, we don't like to do all of this cutting losses business because we are financially, we're just on the edge. I know recently we posted a profit, but don't forget that's accounting profit. In terms of cash flow management, that's a different story. So look, Marseille, if you can come and help us. I know Marseille have their own issues right now with Roberto De Zerbi. There's some quotes flying around that Roberto De Zerbi, off the back of that recent loss for Marseille, has said that, now I don't want to train my players. And the players have also said, well, if you don't want to train, then we don't want to train at all. So, look, we need to find something. This is what Wesley Fofana said last summer. Wesley Fofana reveals, I had a talk with Marseille that really touched me. It was from OM director Mehdi Benashia. It was special. I thought about it, but there you go. The current objective is to succeed at Chelsea, to establish myself at my club. Well, that ain't happening. You haven't established nothing. Wesley Fofana revealed he considered a move to Marseille. I would be lying if I said I didn't weigh it up. It was from Benashia, Marseille sporting director. It touched me, and everyone knows why I thought about it. But there you go. The objective is to succeed at Chelsea, to try and play regularly and establish myself at the club. Well, injuries are hampering you, my man. Please, Marseille, call us this summer. Let's make something happen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. A lot of people saying is, why be so harsh on Wesley Fofana? It's not his. Obviously, none of these players, it's their fault with the injuries. But we need to have a squad that we can rely on. We can't have a squad where it's some parts of it are injured on a regular basis. Romeo Lavia is a separate case for me because, look, he's young. I'm happy to give him one final season to get it all right. I think he's 21. His wages are low as well. I think he's somewhere around 45,000 uh, pounds per week, which is not that much considering what other players earn. I'm willing to just see him out for one more season. And Reece James, look, Reece James, I guess the fact is he's contributed. It's not like Wesley Fofana and Romeo Lavia that these guys have not contributed to anything. Reece James actually contributed, even though he's been injured, but he's at least contributed somewhat at Chelsea Football Club. So, and there's that sentimental value in regards to him being an academy product, and on his day can be really, really good. We've seen what Reece can bring. So, look, even with Reece James, I mean, there is some part of me that's saying if again we fall into the same case scenario next season where he's barely available, which has been the case for the past 4 seasons, then it's on us again. It's our problem. But we've got backups in the likes of Malo Gusto and the likes of Achapong. We'll see what the future holds for Achapong. So that's the distinct differences between Wesley Fofana, Romeo Lavia, and Reece James. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in regards to the latest injury of Fofana. How you feel about that? Do you think there is a possibility that Marseille maybe we can reignite that again? Now, I want to talk a little bit about Ange Postecoglou, my compatriot, my Australian compatriot, has said some mad stuff post-match, man. It was in regards to the incident where Pape Maresca scored that goal, which was obviously disallowed, rightly so, where he kicked studs up on Moses Caicedo. If anything, that incident should have seen a red card for Pape Maresca. That was studs high, straight up on the knee. Big impact. That could have done serious damage on Moses Caicedo. That really could have done serious damage. How VAR has looked at that, sure, we've disallowed the goal, but how is that a yellow card and not a red card? That's baffling to me. Now, off the back of that, my man Ange Postecoglou, my Australian brother, has said this. Ange Postecoglou on Sarr's goal disallowed. It's killing the game, mate. It's killing the game, mate. It's not the same game as it used to be. The referee gave it and then needed 6 minutes to rule the goal out. It's crazy, mate. It's madness. Mate, it's not crazy, mate. Ange Postecoglou, I don't know what you're trying to say here. At the end of the day, the correct decision was made. So you rather continue the game where an absolute wrong decision would have carried on. That goal was 100% needed to be disallowed. The whole reason why we want VAR, and don't get me wrong, VAR gets things wrong. In this case, it should have been a red card, so they definitely got it wrong. But the whole idea of VAR was to ensure that those big mistakes that happen, they don't get overlooked, so that teams don't get hard done by. And I think overall, VAR makes sure that those incidents are caught. Yes, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It's made mistakes as well. But for Ange Postecoglou to say, it's crazy, mate. It's crazy. It's almost as if he's advocating that we don't need that. Well, he's actually has advocated that we don't need VAR. Then we would have got away. Sarr would have got away with that heinous act of studs high, smashing into Moses Caicedo's knees, soft part of the knee, right on top, and would have been a goal. And it wouldn't have been deserved one bit. So this whole thing is utter nonsense from Ange Postecoglou. Like, ultimately, the right decision was made. In fact, no, the wrong decision, because it should have been red card. Postecoglou referees, it's going to be refereed by AI soon. That'll spread to the players soon. A game somehow with no participants. Referees aren't refereeing. When VAR came in, did anyone want these microscopic decisions? I don't like it. It's not even microscopic decision. I'll tell you what's microscopic decision. That offside of Levi Colwill, that should have been a Caicedo goal. For me, that's microscopic decision. For me, honestly, it didn't even look like it was offside. I know a lot of people will say, it was just like slightly. Some people are saying, why is the line made from the shoulder and not from the head? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at that whole thing, it's literally just maybe millimeters in it. Not even. See, I don't like it when VAR tries to rectify those issues, because that kind of stuff, I'm a believer that the benefit of the doubt should be going to the attackers. And I don't care if ever that kind of things happen to each other. And in fact, it has happened to us. It has happened to us. Romelu Lukaku, a few seasons back, I believe it was the FA Cup final or Carabao Cup final. I'm pretty sure it was FA Cup under Thomas Tuchel against Liverpool. That should have been a goal for Romelu Lukaku, and maybe we go ahead and we win that. But VAR did some madness. So, if anything, the microscopic ones, I don't want them. It's the big mistakes. It's the huge, glaring mistakes that the referees miss, which I feel is needed. So there's no need to mock this whole scenario. Oh, referees, we're going to be refereed by AI soon. No, we won't. No, we won't. It's not perfect. I'm not saying VAR is perfect, but it does eliminate the absolute blunders, which that from Pape Metasa was an absolute blunder from the referee. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what Ange Postecoglou is on about, but you let me know your thoughts. This guy, I feel sad for him. He's actually looked upon as a big time, footballing person in Australia. He's done some big stuff with local football here with Brisbane Roars, and obviously he's done some big stuff in Asia as well, in J League, and of course in Celtic he's done some amazing stuff there. But I think this whole Spurs situation, Premier League, is a bit too much for him, and he's probably just found his levels. He's found that Premier League he's not good enough for it. He's just not good enough. I'm not really sure what Spurs are doing, keeping him on. Maybe it's because of the Europa League situation. We shall see. Look, he's a good talker. When it comes to talking, he definitely talks a good game. Not he, though. Absolutely not he. Now, Levi Colwill. Look, I've criticized him quite heavily in recent times, and rightly so. Rightly so. A lot of you guys have said that. But what I like about these comments that we're going to showcase on this video, I like the humble nature of him coming out and talking the truth from inside, and almost taking responsibility of the whole situation. So I really respect that, which makes me say that, you know what, you seem to have a good personality inside, and if you can continue that way, maybe your game will turn around as well, because the mentality's got to be right. You know what I mean? You can't be walking around like an arrogant prick knowing you've not been good enough. At least if you can own up to the fact that, look, it's not been good enough, I'm trying my best, and at least fans can get on back of that and support you to help you. So let's see what Levi Colwill had to say. Everyone says I have a load of potential, but I think potential means nothing. You've got to show it every game. At times I have, and at times I haven't. I need to progress and learn. I know where I can be under this gaffer. He's going to take me there for sure. I like him, man. He's being sincere and honest that, look, I've not been good enough. I've not been. At times I have, and at times I haven't. So that is the first and foremost self-evaluation. To accept the fact that you haven't been good enough at times and to work on that. And I like that approach from Levi Colwill. Well, once again, I've said it many times, he's young. It's not his fault that he's surrounded by even younger defenders. He needed a Thiago Silva-esque type of a defender next to him so that he can keep learning until he can take over. There's been times this season where he's had to lead from the back, when he's had Achapong next to him, and he had to basically teach Achapong when Levi Colwill was probably not even ready to be a teacher as yet. So, look, let's see what happens with Levi Colwill. Further goes on to say, Colwill asked to explain why he has so much belief in Maresca. He's proper hands-on. He tells me what I need to improve on. If I make a mistake in training, he says, come on, this is happening in games. You need to take the next step under him. We're going to improve bundles. No, I appreciate that, honestly. I really do. I know a lot of people have been mocking this comment that, what's Maresca said here that is so out, that is so crazy. This is common management approach. Look, sure, it's common, but the fact that the manager is going in there and telling the players, look, mate, some of these mistakes that you're doing in training, you're doing in the game. If you want to crack it as a big-time defender, you need to rectify all of this. So let's see what Levi Colwill does. I think having Chalobah next to him probably helps. Chalobah, as I've said, Chalobah is not even the standard, but he's definitely better than all the defenders that we have. And hopefully for the remaining parts of the season, with Wesley Fofana now injured. Hopefully Chalobah and Levi Colwill can strike up a good partnership and can build a bit of chemistry and solidify that position and solidify the defensive structure as well. So let's see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. I did appreciate those comments from Levi Colwill. Let me know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Look, apologies for not having a live stream earlier today because we had to record for All You Can Eat Chelsea. So you're going to have some content, obviously. So if you haven't watched All You Can Eat Chelsea, make sure you watch that episode, which dropped. Matisse dropped that not that long ago. And we'll be back, inshallah, God willing, with live streams tomorrow. And from here on in, it's full throttle until the end of the season and even post-season. Lots that's going to happen. Smash up the like button, comment below on everything we spoke about, especially Wesley Fofana, and hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Make sure you do that. Until next time, everyone. Take care. See ya.